Welcome everyone to our particular portion of this DVD. I'm Dan Fiorella.
And I'm John Rawlins.
We were writers for the animated series Adventures of the Galaxy Rangers. Should we name
one
our episodes?
One of about 10 or 15 writers.
A large
staff.
Stable of writers I put together for this show, and how that came about is always a fun story. It was a little unusual, and I answered an ad in the paper. Robert ran a classified...
Was it Village Voice?
Village Voice of the Times. It was just wanted, writer. I'm sure I have this somewhere back in my files, but it was like
so
sci-fi
amazing.
Animated, looking for writers. Submit resume and writing sample too.
Mm-hmm.
Chinatown address.
It's really mind-boggling. Yeah, it was. We were just outside of Chinatown.
Yeah, it was over.
Off of Broadway and Canal. I think it was Broadway and Canal.
And I pulled out something we had worked on together back in college, a radio script. I did not have a background in sci-fi much, or westerns for that matter.
Yeah.
But I submitted it, and it was good enough where it got me an interview. We sat down, we spoke, and I made enough of an impression on it where he offered me one of the stories to work on.
Did he present the Bible of scripts? Because I brought this along, and it has a map of the universe, which was important, and it has all the characters. You are here, see, and it has each of the characters and illustrations, what they were going to look like. This was a really blue sky concept where he put this out there, but he said, you're going to fill in the blanks. You're going to bring into it everything that you've got, and he really gave us Robert Mandel. He really gave us a latitude and allowed us a real free range.
Yes,
to explore.
Free range writers. That's us.
Yeah, to really explore and to really go to the limits of our imagination.
Yes, I mean, all within this. Yeah, this is such an open-ended premise.
Yeah.
I mean, you could say, okay, cowboys in space, western in space, and that was just for a lot of us, and not just us, but that was just a jumping-off point.
Yeah.
Once you had the characters, and as we wrote scripts, and we were reading other writers' scripts, Robert was having us look at stuff and just get a feel of what else was out there. And we were getting more comfortable with the characters, and their behavior. Because even if you go by the Bible, some of the stuff obviously he's putting together and would like to have seen it. And I think a lot of it went in a different direction than he had anticipated.
Well, yeah, he did let us explore and go in different directions a lot of times, and then he'd bring us back and tell us, no, that's not quite the way. I saved some of the old scripts from back then, and I still have his comments. He worked over every line of these scripts. Here, look at this. Take a look at this.
This is just a treatment now.
This one is the MOTHMOOSE, and it just shows how much work Robert put into each of these scripts.
I mean, clarifying plot points and what's the reason that's going to happen.
Yeah,
we say
focusing
something's
us,
happened, and
keeping us focused on what was what.
He had a list of possible plots that he wanted to do, and they were like one line, two lines.
I have that here.
And the Rangers go here, and this happens. And when we were on our own, he allowed us. We didn't always used to have every single Ranger in every episode.
This is the actual sheet that Dan's talking about of little
his pitches for
episodes.
ideas of episodes that he wanted us working on initially before he gave us enough freedom to start pitching our own stuff.
Right.
And that was one of the things. Is it wasn't like in so many other cartoons they had little 5 characters. Those 5 characters appeared in every episode, usually as a group.
This was very modular. First off, characters would just not be there. Zach wasn't there this episode or something like that.
We could pick and choose if we liked the chemistry of 2 characters. We could pick them up.
Whoever happened to work for that particular plot line were the stars of the show for that particular day. and then we might not see them for another week or so.
Yeah, we didn't.
Yeah.
It never felt like we were shoehorning characters into situations. Come up with a plot, see which character worked best with it, or which two characters maybe you wanted to play against each other. That was another thing. Oh, we haven't seen these two characters really interact.
Yeah, you could explore the chemistry between.
That was a
certain
lot of fun.
characters.
And just the chemistry in a cartoon. You
Yeah.
know, who would think?
Yeah.
That gave us a
I
lot.
think that's what made Murder on the Enduring Express one of our most successful ones.
Yes,
Really.
yes, it was.
I mean, in my book, and was the chemistry between Doc and Nico.
Mm-hmm. It was very thin man. That's, I mean, our background, old movies. I mean, the influences like that. Agatha Christie, murder mystery in space.
Right. Murder mystery
Of course,
in space.
yeah. That's
Murder
a
on the
typical
Enduring Express.
sci-fi adventure. And by that time, I think we both had a couple of scripts under our belt.
Yes.
Comfortable.
And we sort of knew where we were going with the idea,
And again, he let us, murder mystery on a ship,
Yeah.
by all means, go right ahead. And if we worked in an ecological plot line, he liked those too.
that was kind of a theme for the series.
The whole series, right.
Was ecology. It came up in Space Moby. It came up in
Progress.
Progress.
That was
Progress
a
is
big,
the
big
one
part of Progress.
where there's a factory on this planet that is producing pollution, and it pollutes the entire planet. This one factory, and is killing off the natives,
Mhm.
and the Galaxy Rangers come to the rescue and set everything right again.
Now, Progress is the quirkiest episode.
You think so?
Only because the way it was assembled.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of bits and pieces that were already existing. There was a demo reel with Goose and his dolphins swimming around from out of the flying sub, and we wanted to use that footage.
Really
because
good
it was
footage,
beautiful
too, yes.
footage, and so we put that into the episode. They had storyboarded a thing of the Rangers chasing a swamp monster on these jet cycles.
Oh, yes.
Through a swamp.
Right.
And so they put that in, and then I had about 20 or 30 ideas that I threw in there, and there might have been a couple other elements too, and of course Robert had his contributions as well, and we kind of stitched it together. There's a lot of action in that episode. When you turn the set on, you didn't know if you were going to get the Scarecrow or if you were going to get the MOTHMOOSE.
MOTHMOOSE, yes, the MOTHMOOSE.
Flying up over the hill with bicycle horns.
Fine episode of MOTHMOOSE.
He has bicycle horns coming up out of his head. Remember that?
Well, he should.
And he has butterfly wings.
Butterfly wings.
And
there was a song which helped them grow their crops.
Yeah, or something like that. I can't quite remember.
That's a long time ago.
A couple of the other shows we haven't mentioned was Shaky. I don't know if you want to say anything about Shaky.
Well, Shaky, again, goes back to Robert and his freedom. He had his Bible. His plan was a gold rush episode, and again, the Western motif. One planet, they discover a mine of the Starstones, which was a running MacGuffin within
the most
series.
valuable
element in the universe.
Yes.
So he has a log line description of what this story should be. Calls it Shaky. Two writers, myself and another writer, go off, write this episode, but they came out so differently that he allowed both of them to go forward. And then, because there was an overlap, now Shaky, the other author, had written, and the Shaky and the planet was shaky and it blows up at the end. And at my episode, they find the Starstones, and they cause kinetic energy and shake and cause my planet to blow up. When I found out about Shaky, I said, all right, I'll change my Starstones to Fool's Starstones.
Like
Fool's Gold, so it wouldn't blow up.
Right.
And he loved that idea.
Yes.
But he liked the way my planet blew up, so he gave the Fool's Stone to Shaky, and so you have the planet that was very shaky and unstable, and that doesn't blow up.
Hence the name.
Hence the name.
Yeah.
And my planet, which seemed fine until the very end.
Oh, that was BOOMTOWN.
BOOMTOWN
Yes.
went boom.
Really, Robert brought together some really brilliant minds. You
He
know?
had an amazing core group, and for what he did, I mean, for putting an ad in a newspaper and handing out flyers,
Yeah, you don't know
at
who you're going to get.
New York
Set
colleges.
up
I
like
mean,
that.
you know,
Yeah.
what he had, I can't imagine what kind of pile of stuff.
But by the time he had it together, he had names like Brian Daley, who had written novelizations of the Star
Mhm.
Wars episodes, some of the books. He had Christopher Rowley, who was a novelist from Britain. He had James Luceno. He had Tom DeHaven, who by this point he has like 10 science fiction novels out there. You know, he had some great talent.
Yeah, and he was able, and then that group, they set the bar very high, so we had
Yes.
to.
Yeah.
We had to get good. I mean, well, we
Yeah,
had no choice.
that's true.
And you
That's
know,
true.
maybe you could get by with one script, and they rewrite it and fix it, and you never hear from them again.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
at least,
Yeah, if you wanted to stay in the game,
you had to
were
give
gonna
them
have to
something that
grow
would-
or die.
all right, the axe was. That was my first episode. I walked in, axe, giant killer robot. At the time now, let's see, this is 85, 86. So on the air you have Transformers, the original Transformers,
Yes.
GoBots,
GoBots.
Robotron,
Yes.
Voltron.
Voltron.
So there's a
A
sudden
lot of robots.
glut of robots. So after writing the first draft or two, word came down from on high. We had to lose the robot. The axe was a robot.
The axe was a robot. That's way too many robots.
Overboard on the robots. Nix the robot. Nix the bot. So we they okay.
But you
we're
had the script already
Well,
at this point, right?
yes.
You had a first draft?
I think even a second as I
draft.
recall. And the robot and the mechanical thing, and
So you have this,
chasing
you have
him
this
and
pretty
shoot-
good story.
Oh,
I mean, it
the-
wasn't.
What a story this was! Ah,
Yeah, but
so good.
what do you do then when the main character is a robot? What do you do?
We changed it to the golem, a mystical statue which will come to life and,
Okay.
and hunt you down and kill you with a giant axe.
With a giant
Axe. It's a very
a
big
magical giant
axe.
I suppose.
Yes, it shot out circular waves at people.
Tuna. We didn't mention tuna.
Tuna. That was your
Yeah, that
First
was
script.
my first script. It was based on an idea, of course, from Robert,
Robert.
from his original sheet of ideas, and
Yeah.
it was like 2 sentences about how Buzzwang finds these robots, these old alien robots, and they come to life in a kind of sorcerer's apprentice thing.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yes.
And they take away from Beta Mountain the various technologies, leave Beta Mountain, and Buzz has to get them back.
And this was now.
That
this,
was the original concept.
That was the original concept. So that went many drafts later.
Yeah, I think 3 drafts.
3 drafts,
I
not
think
bad.
it usually went 3 drafts.
And you,
Um,
and that was the first one that actually went into production. And it was shipped off. You got, your characters were designed. They got
Yeah,
shipped off.
they designed
and
them,
it went
yeah.
to wasn't the first episode that aired.
No.
But I mean, that's an honor to like. You got it in there, and they approved it. And I think that's
just
when
being
John,
in the right place in the right, time.
Yeah,
Living not all that far from Chinatown helps
just
a
being,
great deal.
yeah, being in the subway.
You know.
There's just a couple of subway stops away. It was
I
really
didn't have to
useful.
use the telephone that much. You
This
know,
was
I would
before
just show.
email and
Yes.
stuff like that.
I didn't use the telephone. I would just show up. And Tune Up kind of developed as Buzzwang was not actually developing these robots as much as he got stuck inside one of them, which turned out to be a Xerox machine of some kind. He
Yeah.
got Xerox.
Already then you were able to take Robert's ideas and totally corrupt them to your own, evil purposes. Buzzwang gets a short shift on a lot of opinions. He was a really for us, I think was a go-to character.
Mhm.
He could get us into any situation where we wanted to go, and we could have fun with it. And the fact that it was a robot automatically made the episode science fiction. Buzzwang's Folly.
Yes.
We lifted
Buzzwang's falling.
Laurel and Hardy's March of the Wooden Soldiers and just corrupted that to our purposes. And again,
Yeah, it was the same plot line as
yes,
March of the Wooden Soldiers.
invasion by
Yeah.
little Clay goes.
Well, we gravitated toward the outer circle. We gravitated more toward the alien species than to the Four Rangers in a lot of the episodes we did.
Mm-hmm.
Showtime is
Showtime.
a pretty good example of that. I think we don't see the Rangers until like the last 5 minutes or maybe 4 minutes.
Right, the whole thing.
The thing, because once the Rangers show up, everything kind of is concluded. They save the day, and there's not much else to say except go to commercial. You know.
Yeah, we could. Right. We could delay. The Rangers showed up as the cavalry at the end. To save things. That's why you could use one Ranger or two Rangers and not have to worry about the other ones. And maybe at the end they'd show up. Again, invent a whole different world, space circus.
Yes.
I mean,
a space circus in a spaceship.
Spaceship, which is traveling, and it made perfect sense.
And it's a traveling circus.
I really didn't think much about, like, well, what's the future really going to be like, and try to apply that. I was just as often pulling from the past and just sticking the word laser or space in front of a noun, and it's the future.
Right.
Space laser levels, and space yogurt, and space tech bagpipes, stuff like that.
I brought some scripts. A lot of people didn't know that there was a second season.
Yes.
And the idea was that this was going to be a continuing series.
Oh,
it was going to be picked up. And we were looking hopefully into the future, and we were still writing scripts.
He had given us green light to go ahead and pitch and write some stuff.
And we still have some old story ideas that I have from a long time ago. One of them is, here it is, Henpecked.
Henpecked. That was, and this was a completed script.
This is a completed script.
Me okay.
It was written.
It was in the hopper to be. Should there be a season 2?
Robert paid good money for this.
A lot, cash on the barrelhead.
Not a lot.
Well, no, we've been being nice about that.
He paid a lot. All right.
In 80s dollars, this is.
Yeah, that's true. That's worth at least double that. And Buzzwang gets the axe.
Buzzwang gets the axe.
You might want to talk about as well.
Well, that was continuing our collaboration. Mm-hmm. Again, recycling characters and mix and match. The axe, which I knew he wanted to bring back in some form.
We never defeated the axe.
We never defeated the axe, so we set up a situation where we had the axe, and we get to use Buzzwang, our go-to robot, and set them up an adventure. And the one thing about our stuff, I think you could get an idea of where we were headed because of the names of the ships and planets. And Murder on the Orient Express, they were riding the SS Christie.
Oh yeah, right, the SS Christie.
In Space Moby, the main ship was the SS Melville.
Okay.
And on this adventure takes place on the planet Avery. For our salute to Tex Avery, because it was a Roadrunner cartoon for all intents and purposes.
Well, the axe was, if I recall, the axe was pushing rocks off the cliff to try to hit
stop Buzzwang,
and he was on this little motorbike going around going beep beep.
The second season, man, it could still happen.
That must have been your idea.
Yeah, probably. I was known for that. It was a very nice experience. And
it was a great experience. It was, I think we were the luckiest guys to be in the place we were at that time, to be in on the experience. So it's been great reminiscing about these things. Thanks for listening to us. John Rawlins and Dan Fiorella. Galaxy Rangers signing off.
No guts, no glory.